Well, what did you make of that?
We did ask commissioners about this conduct, but it was the issue of...
No, what did you make of it? What did you think about it? I'm not asking about whether you asked them about it.
It was the issue of saying that they don't know how to handle the scene. Surely they've never even maybe attended the crime scene management.
Would that not tell you then that perhaps people who have better knowledge, who come in and say, get out of the way, were not necessarily defeating the ends of justice?
Yes, if the police maybe took over the crime scene, not
they just say, you
necessarily-
bumbling Lord, just get out of the way, let us do a proper job of this. Would that not have told you that those who came later were actually the people who were doing what ought to have been done?
Yes, Commissioner. However, the conduct of not knowing how to handle a crime scene does not necessarily make it a criminal offense.
I'm not suggesting that it is.
Okay.
That's not what my question is suggesting to you.
The thing is, the police who came, the Hawks who came later to come and handle the scene, did not only handle the scene, they also arrested these people.
So the only problem that leads to the charge of defeating the ends is because they were arrested. Not so much that something wrong was done with. Right or correct to arrest someone who should not be arrested. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Okay. Commissioner, it's not only that. The police did not even try and establish as to who's the owner of these drugs. Today,
how would you have been established? How would you have been able to establish that there and then?
No. I mean now, even now.
Yes.
Because of the drugs were in the Scania container.
Yes.
I don't know whether they did follow up on the Scania issue, but from the information that we received, like on the street, was that the CEO of Scania at that particular time was from Brazil, who later resigned or something like that and left the country. So I don't know if maybe at that particular time they've made follow-ups on this matter. Maybe we were going to have the real owner of...
Thank you. I think to be fair to you, Director, I think on the issue of the dogs, I think there was a mention that there's a suspicion that there could have been more containers. I think from the information that you received that there could have been about 3 containers containing, I think other ones containing guns and other ones containing drugs as well. Yeah. And I suppose the stopping of the dogs at least shut that window of opportunity.
That's true, Commissioner.
If that was the case.
Yes. But that would be only in relation of the one container, because from the evidence there's only one container that came up, or that's at issue in Ayrton.
It's an issue in Ayrton, Chair.
One container.
That it could have been 3 containers on the premises. At least the information that was relayed. It comes across later on when we get affidavits from people from Scania that were expecting 3 containers. Whether they would have arrived the same day or a day before, that's something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm clarifying. You're not saying that the evidence is that at the time of this incident that is happening on the premises of Scania, there was another 2 containers that the dogs would have helped to sniff out. You're not saying
No, we're not saying that.
Okay.
We're just saying to an extent that there could have been, a dog could have, but that's as high as it goes. But there's no evidence to suggest that there were more than that.
Please correct me, I may be misunderstanding the rest of the evidence. My understanding was that the vessel coming in with a container with containers, or this particular container even. There were other 3 containers that were going with this particular one, but only one came up to Gauteng to become an issue in this case.
We don't know. That's the difficulty,
Okay.
Commissioner. What became of those 2? Whether they stayed there or they moved prior to the 9th or the 8th, it remains a question.
So is the point that the dogs would have been used on more than just the one container
Yes.
that contained the suspected drugs
Yes.
or the suspected cocaine? So they would have sniffed at a minimum of 3 containers on the day.
For what it's worth, Chair.
On the day.
For what it's worth. But remember, I still have the reservation to say, but even the person who's accused in any event.
But to leap to that conclusion, you would have to assume that on the day at Scania, there were, in addition to this container, 2 other containers. Because if you were saying they might still be coming 2 or 3 days later, calling the dogs on that day actually makes no sense.
No, that's perfectly true, Commissioner.
And from what we saw, there was not another container that came from Durban on that day that was in the premises. Because if it was there, the policemen who were there would have searched those containers, even without the dogs.
That's all I can take it as far as that. Chair, to
We
say.
may not have seen others, at least in the pictures
In the
that
pictures,
we
yeah.
were shown. But even if there were, the focus was just on this one, on the evidence before us. Yeah.
That's
Thank
true,
you.
Chair.
So I don't think that assists you,
I tried, Chair.
Assistant Director.
Commissioners, in fact, that whole thing, they were expecting 11 containers. But they are saying from these 11 containers, 3 of those containers, 2 had drugs and 1 had firearms. So the thing is, I didn't even see the photo album of the crime scene on the day of incident, so I cannot say much.
Thank you.
But what we do know is Mr. Nku's information related to this one container, that one that he followed all the way from Durban, and he parked inside Scania to watch its unloading. At least we know that much, that their interest in this operation that plays out in Ayrton was on this one container.
And so was the interest of Chief Mashaba
Yes.
and Warrant Officer Mohana, just this
Yes.
one container.
Yes, I'm not sure about the 2 containers, whether it was on the same day or the previous day, or I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Musigiri.
Thank you, Chair. Assistant Director, I want us to move then to the next subtopic on page 7, where we deal with a request for copies of docket Boys Cast 98/7, 2021. Can you then pick it up from paragraph 19 and read that into the record, please?
On 2021-10-21, I've made contact with Investigating Office of DPCI Captain Sibula, requesting the copy of the docket. He said we must come to his office at Germiston on 2021-10-22 to collect it. That is like the following day. My colleague and I went to Germiston as agreed, but to our surprise, on our arrival, Captain Sibula was not in the office. He was contacted on his cell phone and he indicated that he was not going to give IP copies of the docket, copy of the docket.
I just find out, well, surely there is a protocol of how you go about getting dockets. We had Colonel Sibula earlier before you testifying, and part of his justification why there is a formality or there has to be a formality was that anyone could call and want a document out of a docket, and if there are no formal ways of doing it, then people could just end up sharing documents in a docket without more into it. It sort of seems to make sense, that kind of explanation, and so I would expect that you have protocols of how do you get a docket out of the SAPS for your investigations.
Okay. Commissioners, with regard to getting the copies of the docket, an investigator can just go to the police station, or maybe you call to find out as to who is the investigating officer first to make that kind of arrangements. What we normally do when we arrive at the police station or whatever unit of the SAPS, they normally take the picture of our appointment cards to say this person, I gave the copies of the docket to this particular person. But there's no issue of saying you must request the copies of the docket from the commander, because as IPID we rely on Section 29, subsection 2 of the IPID Act that talks of cooperation, that SAPS must cooperate with IPID. So there's nothing like that we must maybe request the dockets from the commander. You can only do that if maybe I know the commander of that particular police station and I don't know who's the investigating officer of the case. Then I can liaise with the commander.
And there's no requirement for certain form that it must take. There's nothing like you have to do it in writing, even if it's an email. There's nothing like that.
Nothing, Commissioner.
Perhaps you should have, so that you don't have Colonel Sibula appearing and saying, I never got such a request.
No.
So maybe you should have some kind of protocol.
Maybe that one can be addressed in terms of maybe fixing our standard operating procedures.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It
Thank
can be a standard way of doing things.
Thank you.
And to be fair to you, this letter on page 34, assuming you had not asked for it formally, by the time you got to this November letter on page 34, it's in writing from your director to General Libya, and you are making it clear there that you are asking for this docket. So even if one accepts that in October you did not follow a formal process, within a month you write to General Libya, and it's a formal letter from your director saying, please intervene, we're looking for this docket for the purposes of this inquiry we are conducting.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Yes, you may proceed.
The matter was escalated to Brigadier Skhobela, that is Captain Sibula's commander, and she said she will talk to Captain Sibula and she will give us feedback. A follow-up was made with Brigadier Skhobela on his cell phone, but the phone was always on voicemail and she never returned the call. On 2021-10-28, an email was sent to General Kadwa seeking his intervention, and the meeting was arranged for IPID and DPCI. Kadwa and the legal services. However, there was no other date provided to IPID. On 2021-11-17, my supervisor drafted a letter to General Libya, who is the National DPCI head, and was signed by the IPID Executive Director. The letter was to request his intervention and get a copy of a docket, Poison's Case 98 of 7/2021. On 2021-11-24, the letter was delivered to General Libya's office at Silverton, and it was received by his staff officer. General Libya did not assist IPID with the request. Instead, he indicated that IPID must investigate without the copies of that docket. It must noted that most of the cases that IPID investigate emanates from cases copies of the docket in terms of Section 29, subsection 2 of the IPID Act 1 of 2011. The member of the South African Police or Municipal Police Service must provide their full cooperation to the Directorate, including but not limited to, number A, the arrangement of identification parade within 48 hours of the request made by the Directorate. B, the availability of members for the taking of an affidavit or an affirmed declaration to give evidence or produce any document in that member's possession or under his or her control which has a bearing on the matter being investigated. C, any other information or documentation required for investigation purposes. Whereas Section 33, subsection 3 of IPID Act 1 of 2011 stipulates that any police officer who fails to comply with Section 29 is guilty of an offense and liable on conviction for a fine or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years.
IPID has this power in Section 33(3). It gives you quite serious power to compel compliance with 29(2). Does IPID use this power? Has it ever used this power?
Yes, Commissioner, this Section 33, we also have the regulations. In terms of the regulations, because Section 21, we've got subsection 1 and 2. With subsection 1, it deals with the reporting of the cases to IPID. So the regulation in terms of Section 29, subsection 1 is clear as to what must happen if the police fails to report the case. However, in terms of subsection 2, it doesn't give us a clear directives as to what must happen. It talks about talking to the person, requesting the reasons for not giving the documents, and then the NHI or the provincial management in terms of the province will give advice as to what must happen.
Well, I mean, implicit in 33(3) is that a criminal charge can be laid. Police officer.
Yeah.
And so whatever the regulations say, maybe the regulations say you must first follow these steps, try and persuade intergovernmental relations kind of provisions. Maybe it says that, but my question is, let me assume on the back of what you've said that the regulations require you to follow, they provide for a certain process before you get to the drastic step of laying a criminal complaint.
Yes.
My question is, I'm now at the criminal complaint stage, the way General Libya has ignored you. I think it's also General Schobela or Colonel
General Kadwa.
Kadwa has ignored you where there's been formal correspondence.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you have already exhausted whatever processes
Yes.
there may be that try to find a resolution, a friendly resolution to this. My question is now at the tail end. Has IPID ever invoked that provision that permits you to lay a criminal complaint and have people prosecuted?
Yeah, in terms of Section 29, subsection 1, we do have most of those cases of non-compliance.
So you have laid criminal complaints?
Criminal complaints, yeah. But the thing is with subsection 2, this one was, I would say it was a peculiar case. It has never happened before where we request a docket and somebody refused with the docket. It was one of its kind.
And nothing happened here?
And nothing happened.
No criminal complaint was laid?
Yes, because the NHR was supposed to give me instruction of saying go and open a case.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Perhaps to that, we can add, there should be a copy of a government gazette next to you there. I just need to refer you to another section. Commissioners, you should have a copy of the government gazette dealing with the IPID Act. Just to piggyback on section 33.3, can you also look into 33.1 and perhaps read that into the record?
Do you want me to go through?
Just
Okay.
read 33.1 only.
33.1, it says, any person or private entity who interferes, hinders, or obstructs the executive director or member of the directorate in the exercise or performance of his or her powers or functions is guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to a fine or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years.
Yes, so my concern is that I think, just to follow up on the point raised by Commissioner Baloyi, is that there seems to be somehow some teeth being given to IPID. But the question is really, are they using same to bite? And I'll tell you why. I mean, if we go, for example, to the letter that you referred to by Commissioner Kumalo on page, I need to go to page 35.
Page
35
of my statement,
of your statement, yes. So the annexures,
or the annexure.
yes.
Annexure? What is the annexure
It will
number?
be TK 11. Let me just double check. Yes, it's TK 11.
11.
So it's a letter that you sent to, it was sent by your office
Okay.
to General Lebeya's office. And my concern is that, I mean, from paragraph 1 to 7, it's just the background. And the essence of your letter really is paragraph 8 on page 35, which says this. It is against this background that we request general intervention on this matter, as the continued delay in the obtaining copies of the docket hampers service delivery. My concern is that this letter, it does not come out as instructive as it could, given the powers that we've read to you. Yes, I understand that there are regulations, but I would have expected at the very least to say what kind of intervention exactly you are requesting. Secondly, perhaps state out that failure to comply, what would that potentially attract in terms of the act, and also explain what is meant by hampering service delivery, you know, and perhaps lastly mention the consequences, and I suppose as lawyers as well, I would have found this letter to be having more bite if at least it gave deadlines as to when at least General Lebeya ought to have responded to this. Hindering or obstructing our service delivery as it's put there. What's your comment to that?
I agree with that, Commissioner, because the letter does not have the time frame as to when do we need the copies of this docket.
And I've mentioned it's not only the timeline, it's other issues as well, that you don't set out what you require, but also the consequences of failure to comply. Now, going back to your statement at paragraph 24, That's on page 8.
On 2021-11-17, my supervisor drafted a letter to General Luia, National Head of DPCI, and was signed by IPID Executive Director.
Sorry,
No, you.
did we not stop at 27? Why are we going back to 24?
Yes, no. I just wanted to ask you a question on 24. You'll see the last sentence there. You say that General Libya did not assist IPID with the request. Instead, he indicated that IPID must investigate without the copies of that docket.
I'm going to show you how to calculate installments on a captain loan, but I'll wait until we sit down. Use Captain's online calculator to figure out how much you can pay each month in installments. Ish, maths was never my best subject. It's simple. Slide up to the amount you want for a captain loan and see how it automatically calculates your monthly installments. Now change the loan term and see how the monthly installments change. It's that simple. The maths is messy. Guiding the system.
Yes, I see that at paragraph 27, you say that the issue was discussed with the National Head of Investigation and I was advised to continue with the investigation without the requested copies of the docket.
Yes.
I suppose my question then, ultimately, this was an internal decision to say, look,
Yeah, it was.
we have tried.
Yes,
Okay.
but not try enough because we're supposed to have opened a case.
Yes. I want us then to move to the next topic, which relates to your investigation. It says investigations conducted by IPID, and there you start with the statements that you took from the independent witnesses at paragraph 28. Can you take it from there, please?
Okay. IPID obtained the statement of other independent witnesses, the truck driver, the lady who was about to receive the goods, and the manager at Scania. The first person is Brightman Vusim Tembu, who was the truck driver. His statement attached the statement as TK12. Indicated that on 2021-0708 in the morning, he was in Durban when he received a message from his company with the container details to be collected at Durban Harbour. He arrived at the Durban Harbour at about 13:20. He inspected the container and the seal was intact. He then took the container and drove to Rorikop, where he arrived at about 20:20. On 2021-0709 at about 6:30, he arrived at work and went to inspect the truck and found that the seal was still intact. He was about to take the container to Ayrton when he was informed that there are police officers who will escort him as they wanted to search the container. He was escorted by the police to Ayrton, and on arrival, the container was received by Jolene, who asked him to put the container at the bay. He did not see who opened the container. When he alighted from the truck, he noticed the black bags being loaded from the container into the Nissan NP300. A tall guy who identified himself as a police officer informed him that he was under arrest for transporting drugs. He tried to explain to the police officer that he did not know what was inside the container.
Just find out, what did you, because as I understand your report, part of your complaints or your what causes you to refer to find that there is a case for defeating the ends of justice in this complaint is that the police officers that arrived on the scene, the General Khans and them, they caused their driver to be released. You accept that you accepted that he was under arrest, and then they ordered that he be released. Can I just understand, what is it about the conduct of the driver that you say that indicates to his arrest being proper, and therefore the instruction to release him being a case of defeating the ends of justice?
Other than the issue that he was the driver of the truck, when we interviewed the driver, it was clear that the driver did not know what was in the container. So even the first members who arrived first, they were supposed to have made like a proper investigation before they can arrest people.
So was your conclusion then about the driver that his arrest by Mahano Pakula team, Mashaba team, should not have happened?
It was premature.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened.
Yes.
You used the word premature, but
Yes.
my question is,
Yeah.
given his explanation.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think at that particular time, no one had interviewed him. They didn't even know the processes as to how does this person get these notifications with regard to collecting these containers and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Perhaps just on it's a different subject, but still affecting the driver. I've read from you've provided us with a copy of your diary entry where you interviewed Mr. Nku. And he seems to suggest there, if my memory serves me well, that the driver is involved or somehow is implicated. Did I capture that? Is my recollection correct?
Yes, Commissioner, he did mention something like that.
Yeah.
Because he was indicating that the driver did not pass through these way bridges. So he drove from Durban to Rodikop without stopping at any way bridges. And according to him, because of him doing that, he knew what was inside the container.
And this weight bridges is where there's a potential, I suppose, search
Yes.
of the trucks.
Of the trucks, yes.
Yeah. Was it that the only inference from him to say because he didn't stop?
Yeah, that was the only inference.
That renders him
Yeah.
suspicious as well.
Yeah. He was saying maybe he was instructed by somebody that he mustn't stop anyway. He must just drive from Durban to Rodikop.
Now, when you spoke to Jolene and them, the Kukemos, did you explore this with them in terms of the traveling of the truck and the stops? Are they compulsory? Did you take this issue further with them when you interviewed them?
Commissioners, the Jolene's and the other lady who works for Scania, Jolene works for Scania, I think in South Africa. There's that other one, Scania Brazil. They don't know as to the traveling arrangements because the company, the truck company belongs to another company. It belongs to Yellow Jersey,
Yes.
not the Scania, the Freighten, because the Jolene's company is Freighten, but they deals with Scania. In Jolene is Scania South Africa and the Roseland Scania Brazil. So they only request the transportation from the other company. What the other company tells their driver, they don't know.
Do you ask the driver about that allegation?
Yes.
And?
And he said no, he didn't get any instruction from anyone.
No. Sorry. Let me clarify my question. Did you ask him about not stopping at way bridges?
Yes, we did.
And?
And he said he was in a hurry to go back home. He was tired. He didn't want to stop anyway.
Okay. But then later on, and I'm sure Mr. Msikidi will get there, but this is it's a topic that's related to this. You seem in your conclusions to have accepted that something was wrong with him not stopping at way bridges along the way.
Yes, Commissioner, because normally I don't know what is the purpose of these trucks going to these way bridges, whether there's a reason for them to go. Normally when I drive, I just saw the trucks going through way bridges. I don't know what is the purpose of those trucks going there. But if this one is saying this person did not even go to the way bridges, I went and asked the driver, why you didn't go to the way bridges? And his answer was that, no, I was tired. I just wanted to reach my destination on time.
Okay, you may misunderstand what I'm saying. You say in the conclusion the driver took the container at the harbour at about 13:30 and arrived at his company in Johannesburg at 2000 hours,
Yes.
which is very quick, I agree.
Yeah, it was very quick.
And then this is the part which I'm asking about. You say, which is highly unlikely for the truck. So you seem to give significance or even credence to Nku saying, he didn't stop along the way, which suggests he had instructions. So I was asking that kind of question, that did you accept that the driver must be implicated? That's why he was not stopping at way bridges, or in the way that you now, as you're sitting there, seem to speak about it, you now say, well, that's what Nku said. And yet your conclusion in paragraph 90 suggests you accepted what Nku said, that, yeah, indeed it is suspicious. And I was trying to clarify that with you.
Yeah, commissioners, it is really suspicious that a truck can travel like from Durban from 1 o'clock and then 8 o'clock is now here in Johannesburg. It was really suspicious. However, if I were to investigate these, this was supposed to be been investigated by the Hawks to check as to whether is it true that this person did not go via those way bridges or not.
Now, I would say it was supposed, to the extent that it has been put to you by Nku, and you seem to make something of it, but you had to investigate it. Otherwise, you've just accepted the so-called informers' information to you, which may,
To be a pet parent is to be human. Sometimes we feel guilty, even when it's for their own good. It's not always a walk in the park. That's why more and more pet parents rely on Hills, with scientifically proven formulas to give more love than humanly possible. Because you're only human, there's Hills. Science does more.
It's difficult to accept that, therefore, it indicates the driver was in on whatever scheme was going on here. You would be expected to do further investigation of it before you say, yes, the conduct of the driver was suspicious. Nku is on to something here.
Commissioner, it's difficult to investigate those kind of issues because it was going to look like we are now overstepping on the investigations that is being conducted by the SAPS. However, like I was saying, if we had the copies of the other docket, we're going to see as to what is in the docket, whether the police followed the issue of these. We didn't want to investigate this issue, and this truck driver is not even a police officer where IPID have mandate to investigate such. So it was supposed to have been done by the police officers.
I guess my problem with you is you draw something out of it. If you had just recorded it, as Nku said, and left it at that, and it didn't look like you made anything of it, then you and I would not be having this conversation. We are having this conversation because Nku says this, and then you make something of it in paragraph 30, that yes, of course, that it was suspicious, the driver was suspicious, but you can't then sit there and say, well, it wasn't anything that I could investigate, when you're drawing certain conclusions about the travel time. That's my concern about it.
Yeah.
But I've heard you.
Okay.
Thank you, Director. Can we then pick it up at paragraph 34, dealing with Jolene Kukemur?
Okay. Jolene Kukemur Wenzel, the lady who received the container, see attached annexure TK13, state that she is employed by Freight and Logistics Eretin. Her duties include, amongst others, receiving the goods, warehousing, and distribution of Scania, South Africa. On 2021-0709, at about 9, the container arrived at the warehouse from Yellow Jersey. The truck was accompanied by the police officer. On arrival, one police officer approached her and said they have a tip-off and requested her to open the container. She immediately took a file and went to the container to check the seal, comparing it with the arrival notification to check if they correspond. The seal was intact and corresponded. She then requested her colleague to open the container. As they opened the container, the black bags fell out of the container and the police officer said it was drugs. They were instructed to load the bags inside the Nissan buggy. After loading, the toll officer came with cable ties and he said he was arresting them. He was arresting her for receiving the goods, the driver for transporting the goods, and Cornelius because the goods belonged to him. He said he was taking them to the nearest police station.
Before you continue, just for the benefit of the commissioners, because I have consulted with the gentlemen involved here, you have also met them. Would you agree with me that when reference is made to the toll officer, would you accept that?
I don't even remember. I think he's tall. I don't remember him.
Of the three, he is the tallest between Pakula. Well, everybody's taller than me, but
I don't remember if he's the tallest, but I think it was him because the first people who arrived, it was him and Mahano.
And Mahan is quite short.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think yes, they are referring to Mashaba.
Yes, so commissioners, I think for now you can accept that at least when reference is made to the tall officer is Mashaba. And in any event, I think it ties down with what he says in that he effected the arrest.
Suggesting we take judicial notice of that.
Indeed.
All I can say is I did see that Warrant Officer Mahano is not really tall. But as for the rest and who's the tallest, I have no idea.
Deputy Director, can you then continue? I interrupted you when you were about to move to paragraph 38.
Okay. She informed her director about the arrest and that they must meet at the police station. She told them that she can't drive with them, and she went to her office to collect her belongings and went back and found Boysen's police. After some few minutes, police officer in red vehicle arrived and obtained her statement. While the police were busy obtaining her statement, police from Flying Squad and Hawks also arrived, and they dealt with the situation. At about 1700, the police officer who arrived first at the warehouse were arrested by the police officer who alleged they were from the Hawks. Francois Riquet, he states that on 2021-07-09, at about 9, he spoke to General Khan on the phone explaining to him that the situation at the receiving warehouse of Scania in Omnia Park was getting volatile. He told him that the police were threatening him and his colleagues with arrest. He confirms that the container from Brazil was transporting parts, and they opened it on the instruction of the police. Black bags that were not supposed to be there were found in the container.
I just have two questions for you. At paragraph 39, Jolene says that the police from Flying Squad and the Hawks also arrived. And then she says they dealt with the situation. What is your understanding of what she means by that?
Because on from paragraph 37, because the police were telling her that she was being arrested, when she said the police, the Hawks arrived and dealt with the situation, my understanding was that they're the one who said, no, you cannot arrest this one. Then they arrested the other police who came first.
I'm not sure if I understand that, but let's move on to my last question on this aspect. Maybe you'll assist me. From at least for now, I know you interviewed a lot of people, but at least from the 3 independent witnesses that you interviewed, and we just went through their summary, is there any where you can draw the elements that will sustain a claim of defeating the ends of justice against any of the 5 accused? And if so, can you then draw us to those allegations from these witnesses that will support what Mahan and them are saying?
Okay. These other police officers, they came later at the crime scene. There were 2 police officers from Boysens who arrived first, who arrived after these Makhanu and Mashaba arrived at the crime scene. I think they received a complaint from 10111 talking about issue, I think it was hijacking or something like that. They attended to the crime scene, they interviewed Makhanu and Mashaba, and I think after their interaction with those police officers, they were satisfied with what was happening there, because they also gave their 08, like their report back to 10111, indicating that it is a legit operation, the police are working, and they were assisting the Mashaba and Mokhano before even Pakula arrived at the crime scene. So for the Hawks members to come later and arrest these members without even following up on the information as to where the drugs were going, it was something else. Because I believe if maybe they asked Jolene, because Jolene was the one who was going to receive the goods, if they asked maybe as to the processes after receiving the goods, maybe we were going to find out as to where these drugs were going.
How so, though? How would that have been established?
I don't know if it is their practice at the Scania, when Jolene received the goods, maybe she checked everything that is inside the container to confirm as to what is inside, or is it an issue of her checking the seal to confirm that the seal is intact, and then she leaves the container like that, or she normally opens the container. If they asked the right question as to is it the first time when something like this happened to this, when she received this kind of, was it her first time to receive something like this or not? Maybe.
What answer do you think that would have elicited?
Maybe
If Jolene was aware that there were
Kellogg's Cocoa Pops? Mom, please.
First, the power breakfast.
Okay, deal. Cocoa Pops?
Yes, this is the power breakfast.
Want vitamins, fiber, and energy? Kellogg's Cocoa Pops.
10 hours. It is a place for freight.
Do you think she would have owned up and said these are my drugs or these are Scania's drugs? Or?
Not drugs per se. I'm not sure if she will know as to what will be the content on those bags. But maybe she was going to say, no, we normally receive these bags, and then when we receive these bags, this is how we handle the bags. I'm just giving an example. Or she will say, no, this is the first time seeing something like this. Or she will say, we don't open the container because this is freighted.
Now, in the face of being arrested, don't you think, that is by the officers who are now complainants, don't you think that would have caused her to give the sort of answers you are talking about now?
I don't know what was Jolene's statement at that particular time, because I got the information that Pakula was obtaining Jolene's statement when he was arrested. I don't know what kind of questions was he asking Jolene.
I think the thrust of the position of all the people that Warrant Officer Pakula, Warrant Officer Mohana, and Chief Mashaba arrested, I think the thrust of their responses was basically that they knew nothing about this.
About the drugs.
Yes. So I'm not sure where what you are suggesting would have taken anybody.
Yeah, but now, Commissioner, the drugs, we've got the drugs here.
Perhaps let me give you some background. People who have expertise in this field have said that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to ever get to know who the person supposed to receive the consignment is. And in fact, I think the officers who testified or gave evidence on this, they basically said they have never found, in all of their investigations, they have never found the consignee. So I think what you are saying probably has everything to do with the fact that you have no expertise in this field. Your comment on that?
Commissioner, I don't have expertise with drugs, but when you talk about this consignment coming from Brazil,
to give you names, I think it was Uflin, and then also Sander. Yeah, both of them said they have never. Yeah, I think even Colonel Jacob, they have never been able to apprehend the consignee or the owner, as you put it.
Yeah, I accept that, Commissioner, but if the Hawks, maybe they dealt with the scene not the way they dealt with to maybe the statement of those people, I don't know whether they know more than they are saying at the moment because they were arrested. If maybe the police were working with them at that particular time, maybe, I'm just saying maybe because I don't know, maybe they were going to say more.
Indications, and you say which people probably know more?
Commissioner?
Which people do you say maybe know more? No.
Mashaba and Tumelo.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Because I cannot talk of Mahanu and Pakula because they only came later. Commissioner?
Mahano was there right from the beginning. I thought your basis for saying
But,
maybe he knows nothing is founded on some other reason, but not the timing of his arrival. He was there right from even went to Yellow Jersey, so he was there.
I'm talking
let's not speak at the same time.
Okay.
He was there right from the beginning.
Yes.
I'm not shutting you down. There are problems with transcription when people speak at the same time.
No, I'm saying he came later, Commissioner, because I'm talking about he was only notified in the morning. Even Mashaba called Pokungwani first, and then he was referred to Mashaba. Yes, he was there, but I'm saying maybe he did not have information more than what Mashaba and Nku had. So I'm saying if maybe...
You heard that? That would have been a close call to my client connecting with his neighbor's tree. Luckily, he came to us before he had an incident. We don't just replace parts. We choose the right ones. Keeping you on the move, we love this part. Dunlop, parts that move you.
How is the failure to ask the question, who do these drugs belong to, how does it constitute defeating the ends of justice, your conclusion? Because ultimately that's what this is about. It's about certain conduct, and you say that conduct constitutes defeating the ends of justice. And now in your testimony, as you were speaking to the chair, you say they didn't, for example, they prevented them from asking the question, maybe they should have asked Jolene. You're surely not saying the failure to get that question asked is to defeat the ends of justice.
Okay. For them to fail to do proper investigation, detecting the owner, they knew who the owner of the drugs was, but they didn't want, they wanted somebody to be blamed because now these four disturbed this smooth movement of these drugs.
You're also not saying that an investigation would and should have happened on that day in Eraton, on the scene, done and completed and gotten all the answers. You're not suggesting that. Because
Commissioner?
you're not saying that the investigation should have happened on that day, on the scene, all these answers obtained, who the drugs belong to, and all of those answers closing, basically getting the answers that you say they should have gotten. And because that did not happen, because the General Khans and others arrived.
Yes.
You're not saying that was the end of it. I mean, an investigation is ongoing, right? It's not just on the day at the scene.
No.
So when you say their conduct on the day at the scene constitutes defeating the ends of justice because they prevented these questions, they prevented getting answers to this and that, you're limiting it to the day as if an investigation is just that one day and that would have been the end of it. Can you maybe just explain?
Commissioner, I'm saying that because of with them arresting these four, they are shifting the whole focus of getting the real owner of the drugs into these four people.
Do you know that by now, by the time you write your report, you know Mahano is not an investigator of narcotics. You know that. You know that Mashaba is not an investigator of this kind of stuff. You know that.
Yes.
You know Nku has nothing to do with all of this.
Yes.
So unless you are saying the defeating of the ends of justice happened on that day. If that's what you're saying, I can see. I may have problems with you saying that, but I can see that you limit it to the facts on the day itself. And then you say an investigation would have been done on the day, all the answers obtained, and you frustrated that happening on the day, and therefore you defeated the ends of justice. I can see that. But if you accept that an investigation would have been an ongoing process, how do you get, and I've given you the fact of Mahano is not an investigator. He had no business to be there beyond that one day. Mashaba is not SEPS, he's not SANEP. He has no business to be there beyond that day if he ever had a business at all. Nku is a supposed informer, so he's completely irrelevant to conducting an investigation, as in he can be one of the personnel. How do you get to there was a defeating of the ends of justice as if it started and ended on the day itself? It wasn't going to happen to be a continuing process.
Okay. Commissioners, the police were supposed to have opened an inquiry because at that particular time, at the crime scene, nobody knew as to the owner of the said drugs or the said packages. So, but for them to arrest people without having information, I took it as if they knew who the owner was of the drugs, but because of these first four disturbed their own mission, the police mission, or whoever drugs belongs to, now they must punish these first four with arrest.
Were you told that one of the SEPS people that arrived asked about an inquiry number and Pakula said, "We don't need that. I don't need that. I don't have time for that." When he was asked, where is an inquiry number?
I don't remember.
Well, there is evidence like that Pakula, I think it is Pakula, but it's one of the Mahano party of people who said, I didn't have time and there's no time for that. This is an urgent operation. So you should be actually charging Pakula for not getting an inquiry number because they're the first people on the scene. And that's what we've learned from the evidence, that the people that do the drug bust, they're the ones that arrange for the registering of an inquiry number. So you seem also now to be blaming the wrong people for not having an inquiry number, when in fact Pakula and Mahano, as the first responders on the scene, should have gotten that inquiry number. But that you may not be aware of that evidence, but that's the evidence that we've had.
No, I'm not aware.
Okay, thank you.
Director, before we conclude, the difficulty with all of this is if you look at page 10, paragraph 37 of the statement, which is where you were. They opened the container, black bags fell out, the police officer says it's drugs. Instruct that they be loaded in the Nissan Baki, the tall one starts taking out cable ties and arresting people. There's something seriously wrong with that. Because first of all, you cordon off the scene, you call the right people, they put whatever it is that is found there in exhibit bags, it gets booked in. Within 7 days, it must go to FSL, which must determine that this is drugs. Then the investigation continue and you can arrest people for being in possession of drugs.
That's true.
Here, you're just seeing black bags. For all you know, it could be powder milk. It could be soap. You've got somebody who's only ever arrested people for dacha, deciding that these are drugs and arresting the driver and arresting the manager. You don't do that.
Yeah.
So the mere fact that they had done that was improper to begin with. So it's not shifting blame. As Commissioner Baloyi correctly points out, the investigation does not start and end on the 9th of July. Maybe after 10 days, once it was determined that these were drugs, then the investigation would go back to the driver and the warehouse manager and all those people. And then they become suspects because you've determined that these are drugs. And then you take their statements and possibly they can be arrested. But the way it was done, where containers fall out, bags fall out of a container, they are put in a Nissan Baki and somebody already decides, based on how the bags smell, that these are drugs, was improper. So the simple point is that none of that could happen in a day. The most important thing that should have happened in that day was that the exhibits are properly secured,
Yeah.
they are booked properly, and the prescripts are followed to determine what is in those bags, so that if there's a need to arrest anybody, people can be arrested.
That's true, Commissioner.
But there can be defeating the ends of justice based on within 30 minutes bags fall out, somebody determines that they are drugs, somebody already determines who the drugs belong to, and somebody already determines who must be arrested. So the reason why the driver and the other people were released, or there was an instruction that they should be released for the time being, it was because it was premature to arrest them to begin with. Now, Commissioner Baloyi's point, why is that defeating the ends of justice? If the investigation is not closed on the day, it's a continuing investigation, and the very people can still be arrested on some other day, or their statements can still be taken on some other day.
Yeah, I hear you, Commissioner. On that day, no one was supposed to have been arrested.
So stopping there, releasing those people then cannot constitute defeating the ends of justice if nobody should have been arrested. I would understand if the driver was a Brazilian who was leaving the country the following day, and his release would have resulted in the police never getting hold of him ever again.
Yes.
But you don't have those facts in this case.
No, I hear you, Commissioner.
So you accept Commissioner Baloyi's point?
I accept. That is why even previously I indicated that when Commissioner was saying, I indicated that the arrest was prematurely for the driver, that they were not supposed to have arrested the driver because of when I interviewed the driver, it was clear that the driver didn't know about what was in the container. So I'm saying on that day, no one was supposed to have been arrested. Okay.
Leave it there.
Okay.
Assistant Director, just to round off the point by Commissioner Baloyi, on page 5 of your statement, at paragraph 18.5, I'll just read that into the record.
Okay.
So 18.5, it says, a police officer who was later known to them as Warrant Officer Rikhotso arrived and had an argument with Warrant Officer Pakula. Warrant Officer Rikhotso did not want them to open a case, but to open an inquiry file. Warrant Officer Pakula refused, and he was then told that General Khan was on his way. So this is just to bring to attention that the issue of the inquiry file, so no need to pursue that. And I suppose to round off the last conversation you had with Commissioner Khumalo is that we then accept that if you say that no one was supposed to be arrested, we can accept that you were not investigating a case of unlawful arrest in this case?
No, IP does not have mandate to investigate unlawful arrest.
Yes. Can we then move to paragraph 42? The topic is statements of...
Sorry. Oh, you're starting a new heading now.
Yes, Chair.
Statements of sub-stock unit members.
Yes, Chair.
Let's do that tomorrow. Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want it. I like to add the action items field so AI can show me the next steps. I add my teammates as watchers so they're in the loop. ClickUp makes work easy, from personal projects to running a multi-billion-dollar company. Click the link below to create your workspace for free.
Are we sorted, Ms. Bowen?
Chair, let's try this again. So in front of you, Chair, and Commissioners, there should be a file which has the witness statement. You will see that an updated index has been inserted and the supplementary statement starts at page 6 of that bundle. If you turn around, you will see the exhibit bundle. The first is the stain exhibit. The second, it should say exhibit file, Boysen's case number with the CON disciplinary in one file. The third is IPID, and it's another exhibit file. It shouldn't have that witness name up top. That is just an error. And then the third is, it just has a Boysen's case number. It's where the presentation is situated. So those are the files we'll be making use of.
Now they are in order. Thank you very much, Ms. Bowen.
And then for the purposes of going through the supplementary, I'd ask that you take the file with the presentation. We'll be dealing with the supplementary statement alongside that presentation. Colonel, in front of you
is the file with the presentation. What is it called?
It's the fourth file. Colonel, in front of you should be your witness statement, and the supplementary is inside at page 6. And then please have handy the file with the presentation. It's the fourth file.
Good morning, Colonel.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Let's take the oath again. Please place your full names on record.
Nkwana Joseph Zabola.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Colonel, can we first confirm your supplementary affidavit? If you go to page 6 in that file, the statement file, can you confirm that this is a statement that you prepared for purposes of your testimony this morning?
That is correct, Commissioner.
And if you go to page 9, can you confirm that that is your signature at the end of that statement?
Indeed, it is mine.
And can you confirm that the contents of the statement are true and correct?
Yes.
Colonel, we can start going through your statement. When we get to paragraph 3, we'll start looking at it alongside the presentation. And Chair, Commissioners, just to note that the presentation was not prepared by Colonel Sebola. It was prepared by an analyst within their office for purposes of the investigation, but it's a presentation that Colonel Sebola is familiar with. Colonel, can you confirm that?
Yes.
Colonel, if you can then proceed to paragraph 1 of your statement.
On 2021-0709, during the investigation of poison cast 98 of 7, 2021, I confiscated the cellular telephones of Marumo Mohana, Boy Steve Pakula, Samuel Mashava, and Tumelo Nku as part of the investigations. The devices were placed in the following forensic cell bags.
Colonel, it's not necessary to read those bag numbers. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
You can then proceed to paragraph 2.
All the confiscated cellular telephones were subjected to forensic downloading and analysis. Upon receipt of the downloaded data and corresponding forensic report, I, together with my analyst, examined the contents of the devices. During the analysis, it was discovered that one of the screenshots found on the device of the accused person contained the communication between Philip Plain, who was saved in the device as Tumelo Nku, and individuals identified as Alpha.
Thank you, Colonel. Commissioners, just to deal with the identity, Philip Plain, if you can go to page 15 of the presentation. Colonel, can you confirm that that is what you're talking about?
That is correct.
And what methods did you use to determine that Philip Plain is Mr. Nku?
And the true caller.
And that would be the first screenshot there?
That would be the first screenshot.
Okay. Thank you, Colonel. Then you can go to...
Subject to necessary redacting, aren't we going to be writing these?
My apologies, Chair. It was just a slight delay.
Just before I spoke, it was not up.
Yes.
Thank you. And who is it that we see on the... Is it one person or is it two people?
The images.
Yeah.
The image
Do you
does
know?
not reflect to the owner of the cellular telephone.
Okay.
Those were part of that was found inside
Okay.
the screenshots.
Colonel, are you saying that the two pictures of that person is somebody else?
I can say because these pictures are just found inside this cell phone. It's someone else.
It's somebody else completely.
Yeah.
Or were they included to show the clothing brand name?
I can just confirm to say maybe they were showing.
Can we please short circuit this? Is that Mr. Nku that we see in the middle photo and the photo on the right?
Yeah, if I still recall, it is Mr. Nku.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then we can move to paragraph 3 of their statement.
The communications referred to General Mashaba of Hawks. Further examination of Tumelongu's contact list revealed that the person saved as General Mashaba of Hawks was identified as Samuel Mashaba. This information was extracted from the digital evidence obtained during the forensic examination of the confiscated cellular telephone and formed part of the material considered during the investigation.
Paragraph 4.
Further examination of Tumelongu's device revealed several screenshots containing communications relating to vessels, containers, and piers. The communications include the discussion regarding the taking of photographs of container and its seal.
And its seal.
And its seal.
Okay.
The sentence must end with its seal.
Thank you, Colonel. Colonel, if we could then go to page 7 of the presentation. My apologies, page 6.
Page 6.
Yes. You explained during your last appearance that from the devices you noted screenshots from a particular app called Trima.
Yes.
Is this then what is being referred to on this page? If you look, it says during the analysis of the images that were saved on the above device, I then discovered the following screenshots of messages saved from an encrypted messaging application. I then searched for keywords which related to shipment of containers in relation to Boyson's Cass, where illicit drugs were found inside a container.
That is correct.
And can you confirm that those were the words that were searched in the devices?
That is correct.
And then on page 7, can you confirm that that is what Trima looks like?
That is correct.
And can you then explain why it is that an individual would rely on screenshots from Trima and not the actual application itself?
Can you rephrase that question?
You noted in the presentation, you note an explanation that Trima is unique in that it doesn't keep messages.
Correct.
Is that then the reason why you rely on screenshots?
That will be the reason.
Thank you.
Let's check at page 6. Is that you who's giving a description, or is it the analyst who's speaking at page 6?
This is what we're doing with the analyst, Commissioner.
Okay. Maybe Ms. Bowe, if we could just get a fuller explanation of this Threema app, because there is an explanation in that end paragraph at page 6. We are not all familiar with it. So maybe how it works and why we've got the kind of screenshots we have on page 7.
All right. Colonel, if we can then take a step back and maybe let's start here. You noted that there were different messaging applications that were used by the individuals.
Yes.
One of which was Threema.
That is correct.
Can you explain to the commissioners what Threema is?
Can I just go through the description and when we're doing the analysis, because it will be... Yes.
Maybe, Colonel, to assist you, look at the last paragraph on that page, on page 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
The messaging app, which most of the screenshots were taken, okay, not this one. Threema messaging application uses encryption, open source technology, and does not require an email or phone number to sign up. It protects your metadata and permanently deletes messages after they are sent. The images below are from the application Threema with ID, as it does not use phone number.
If messages are deleted after sending, what would you have been able to retrieve then? Can you please explain how that works?
That is why they are captured on. He might be using.
In fact, not just deleted. It says permanently.
One will need to either save it on its screenshot so that he can forward it to the next person. So that is why it was saved on Mashaba, on Tumelongu's phone, because he wanted to relate what is in the message to the other person.
So all that you retrieved were those texts in respect of which screenshots were taken.
Screenshots were taken.
So if there had been no screenshots, you would have found nothing.
Nothing. That is correct, Commissioner.
All right, okay.
Colonel, let's just take a step back. It can be that they disappear after they are sent, because then the person they are sent to won't see them. Surely the proper explanation must be after the recipient has read it, then it disappears.
That is correct.
Because the recipient must at least read it. Because if it disappears when it's sent, then the recipient can read it. I understand it to be that it disappears automatically after it is opened and read, so that when you look at it again, it's not there. And the only way you can keep it is if you use another phone and you take the screenshot of the very first message.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Perhaps more clarity on that. The reference to deletion after sending, that's about the sender, is it not?
It's about
on the sender's device.
It's just like a view once, Commissioner.
No. I want to take it step by step. So on the sender's device, it disappears or gets deleted. So on the recipient's side, it is, as you say, like a view once.
Correct.
So it gets killed on both sides.
Not definitely sure about the sender. But what I'm sure of, once I have read it, then it's done. It's no longer appearing on me. But with regard to the sender, that one I won't confirm, Commissioner.
Then the statement that it protects your metadata and permanently deletes messages after they are sent. So the reference to sending does not make much sense then, if you are not able to comment on that side, that is the sending side.
Yes, on the sending side.
Do you get what I mean? Do you get what I mean? Because I read this to suggest that it disappears after it has been sent.
It has been.
I'm not mindful of the point Commissioner Kumalo made, but there seems to be something that's sought to be made out of the reference to sent. Which to my mind suggests that it disappears on the side of the sender as well. So it's not just a question of the view once on the recipient side. Am I making sense?
No.
Otherwise it wouldn't make sense to refer to sending or sent. You want me to start again?
No, Commissioner, I think what I will state,
Yes.
I'm saying, I am the sender.
Yes.
I'm saying it to the commission.
Yes.
The commissioner must read it and it's gone with him. It must not link the commissioner with me.
Yes.
In fact, it creates a state wherein.
But and I've heard that. And what happens on your side, you the sender? What happens on your side? Does it remain on your device?
Commissioner, this one, I think it will depend because we don't know the sender to how many people is he sending.
No. Let's just assume
because
the example.
Photos.
No. Let's just assume the example you have given, which is just 2 people you have sent to me.
Correct.
What happens on your side? Does it disappear or not?
That one, it has not yet been tested, but the belief is it can't disappear. It must still remain with me.
Yeah.
The only thing, it delete the connection between me and the person who is receiving.
I'll step off this, but I will again make a point that I've made already, which is that because your focus here in this report is on sent or sending, so I thought the permanent disappearance is on the sender's side. So I'm surprised that you now say...
No, it's on the receiver side, Commissioner. That is why the receiver...
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Chair, if it's of any assistance, we can ask our analysts to have a look at it. But
we won't have a witness on this, but I'll just read something that Commissioner Baloyi has found on Google. It says, no metadata. The app is designed to leave no data trail. Messages are deleted from the servers as soon as they are delivered. So that to me suggests that it's dead on both sides.
Correct.
And indeed on the server itself.
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes.
thank you, Chair.
I'm sure a number of people in the country are going to rush for 3 months.
Yes, Chair, you have created a problem after you clarified the disappearance on both sides. Colonel, and then just to confirm on page 7 that's what TRIMA looks like and it creates IDs.
Yes. On page 7, yes, this is what looked like.
And then on page 8 is another example of what those screenshots look like.
Yes.
And just to confirm, the first screenshot comes from which application? On the left, the first one on the page.
The one that starts with Salam.
Yes, is that a TRIMA screenshot?
Yes. No. This one is not TRIMA, it's WhatsApp messages.
Colonel, if you look at there are two sets, right? The left, the far left is one, and you can see the colors are different from the second and third one, which appear to be from WhatsApp. Or am I misreading that?
The one that starts with EB. The middle
Yes.
one says EB, and
the first one starts at the top, it says alpha. Can you see that?
yes.
I'm asking, is that a screenshot from Trima? Maybe to assist you, Colonel, if you go to page 11, there are other screenshots that, according to the presentation, are from Trima. Can you see that it looks like the first one?
Yeah. Yes. The page 8 one and the page 11 one are the same.
Yes, so those are from?
They are from Trima.
And then the second and the third, those ones are from?
WhatsApp.
Thank you. Now you say...
The second and third on page 8.
Yes.
And we know that the first sequence is from Trima. How do we know that? From looking at this, what tells us?
This is as it was captured on the device.
I guess what I'm asking, Colonel, is how do I know that the first sequence is from Trima and the second sequence is from WhatsApp? I guess the second sequence is more obvious because we are familiar with that format. So it's easy to see why you would say the second one is WhatsApp. What I'm asking is, what is it about the first one? What are the identifying features of the first sequence which tells us this is not WhatsApp, but it's Trima? Is there anything in particular?
When I was with the analyst commissioners, I think if we can also look at the top side of the one that we say is on WhatsApp.
Page
8.
Okay.
The last two.
Yes.
There is difference between the captions there. The first one, we said it was sent, they got it via Trima, then captured on the screenshots of my Tumelong. Even the second one, but these ones were captured on the indication on the phone, it shows WhatsApp. But on this one, it shows that is through those encrypted chats of Trima. But looking at it here, I cannot say here are the features and what. But what I understand, during the downloading, I was told this is Trima, this is WhatsApp. Commissioners.
I want to, I want to take you back to a question that was asked by Commissioner Baloyi as to who compiled this report. And you said it was compiled by you and the analyst. I noticed that you have difficulties answering some of the questions we ask around the report. Even as you responded to Commissioner Baloyi, I wondered whether your participation was more assisting the analyst and saying whatever you saw as necessary, but that it was more the analyst who prepared the report. Don't take this badly. It does not impugn your expertise as a colonel in subsec, colonel who recently even got promoted to the position of colonel. It doesn't. But we just want to be sure of the true factual position. Was this compiled by the analyst with you assisting where necessary? As I say, this does not impugn your expertise as a subs officer.
Correct, Commissioner. In fact, the analyst is assisting me. I'm not assisting the analyst.
No. There's a nuance here. We are talking about the preparation of the report. The person who is doing all the analysis and so on and so on But this is being done for you as the investigator, that I get. But there's a nuance between who is actually the person preparing the report, the analyst. That's what I wanted to establish. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Then we will understand your lack of knowledge with regard to some of the technicalities better. We'll understand that better. You see what I mean? Thank you. Thank you.
Chair, just to say that the DPCI did provide us with the downloads of the phones, and how we were able to confirm that this is Trima is that all of these ones that are gray and light green that have a bell and a little phone icon at the top were all found in the gallery of Mr. Ngu's downloads. And if you look at the metadata of it, it specifies just the phone that it was taken. So all of the ones that come from Trima appear like that. And what you can get from it is just the date on which the screenshot was taken, and not necessarily when the messages themselves were sent. That's on our end.
That's going to be a
Thank you, Ms. Bowen.
Yeah, so it's yeah, let's look ahead just quickly.
Just a minute.
Over 50% of you are watching the channel. Mara, you haven't
Ms. Bowen, may we please be provided with a very short affidavit from the analyst, specifically on how we identify what's what with regard to the texts.
Yes, Chair.
Short affidavit.
Our analyst or DPCI analyst? The DPCI.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do so.
Yes, DPCI, yes.
But return train tickets cost only 10 rand.
Yes, you may continue, Ms. Bowen.
Colonel, you then say in paragraph 3 that you were able to ascertain that the individual saved as General Mashaba of Hawks was Mr. Mashaba, who was one of the suspects in this case. Can we then go to page 9? My apologies, actually, page 10 of the presentation, where you explain how this determination was made. Can you explain briefly how you were able to match Mr. Mashaba, that this was indeed the person who was one of your suspects?
Okay, page 10 says, the following conversation was extracted from WhatsApp conversation saved as chat 168 on 2021-03-04 at about 04:19. TN Tumelongu says the following.
Over 50%
Salam
of you are
boss,
watching the...
may I please come through at 9 a.m. The general just asked me to pass by him at 7 a.m. And he says, see page 2 of 72.
Colonel, just a reminder, on the second bullet point, please don't read out the name.
On 2021-04-02 at 13:03, EB boss. There are the names. Says the following. Where is General? Then on 2021-06-21, 09:57, Tumelongu is quoted as saying, sorry boss, been busy with Mashaba. The above quoted message confirmed that the two individuals are the same on the above and on many screenshots saved on the devices, as they both addresses Samuel Mashaba as General. There is also a voice note on the audio of Samuel Mashaba's device where an individual is mentioning the name General. There is
So in the purpose of your analysis, your conclusion was that where EB Boss and Mr. Ngu talk about General or General Mashaba, that it is a reference to the suspect in your
It is
case.
referred to the suspect in the poison case 9/8 of 7/2021.
General, sorry, Colonel, I'm struggling to see how you connect this Mashaba, this General Mashaba that is referred to in the WhatsApp messages to your suspect. Can you maybe just explain again what is it that makes you connect him and say it is the same person?
If we can go to paragraph 3 of my statement.
Of the statement.
The communication referred to General Mashaba of Hawks. Further examination of Tumelongu's contact list revealed the person saved as General Mashaba of Hawks was identified as someone in the communication of Tumelongu. The person who has been identified between
Welcome to our events on the TV.
Mr.
It shows that the person is saved in Nku's phone as Samuel Mashaba. That is what we have picked up from this communication, that when they are talking about the General of Hawks, they are referring to the person who saved as Samuel Mashaba, but the communication indicates the other names.
Okay, so just to be clear, in Mr. Nku's phone, you have Samuel Mashaba, a contact, as one of the contacts. Is that
no? In Mr. Nku's phone, he saved as General. Then that number that is saved as General belongs to Samuel Mashaba.
Okay, so when you check, you find the number that is saved under General Mashaba of Hawks is in fact the number of Samuel Mashaba.
Correct.
You were able to make that link. Correct. Thank you, understand.
Just to be clear, without reading it out, that number is the one we see on page 4 of the presentation. You see that on page 4, there's the person, there's the name, the ID, the rank, and then the cell phone number.
Correct.
That's the cell phone number that is saved in other devices as Mashaba General Hawks.
Correct, Commissioner.
Colonel, if we can then go to paragraph 4 of your statement.
Further examination of Tumelongu's device revealed several screenshots containing communications relating to vessels, containers, and piers. The communications include the discussion regarding the taking of photographs of a container and its seal.
All right, Colonel. Just to clarify, were these just general chats and not specific to the Boyson's case? The ones that you're referring to in this paragraph?
Commissioners, if I may state, because this communication dates back to May 2021, which clearly indicates that these people have been monitoring certain containers before the Boyson's one. There is communication, they date back to 21 May 2021. which also, upon discovery, we realized that their operation was successful on that day.
And just to go through some of those examples, Colonel, can we go to page 11 of the presentation?
Correct.
So if you look at the first screenshot, can you explain to the commissioners what we see there?
The first screenshot, start by saying, can you get the pics of the container and seal? The longer you take with it, the more nervous they get.
And you say this is communication between who and whom? Who are the people talking here?
This is a screenshot found in Tumelongu, which indicates that the communication is between him and Alpha.
And just to clarify that, if you look at message number, the third one, perhaps at the top, the first participant is Alpha. And then if you look at the third message,
one that start with
after the second message, you'll see it says Philip Plain. So that's a quoted message. It shows the other participant.
Philip Plain. On top of Philip Plain is responding to the boss. Philip Plain, commissioners, still takes us back to Melungu. Now he's communicating with the bosses. So it is not going to happen today.
So the boss quotes a message from Philip Plain saying, so it's not going to happen today, right? And you see the message from Philip Plain is boss.
Boss, the message of Philip Plain is a boss, the driver details, and then, which means Philip Plain now says, it's not going to happen today.
No, it's the boss saying.
The boss commissioner.
The boss saying so. But what the boss has done is to indicate that he is responding to a much earlier text from Philip Plain.
From Philip Plain, correct,
yes.
Commissioner.
It appears just above, so it is not going to happen today. Yes. If you look at the color coding, that's still the same person as can you get the pics? The longer you take, same color coding. So it's the boss saying this.
Yes.
Yeah. So what Philip Plain had said is, boss, the driver details still haven't been loaded yet. The guys are monitoring the app, and the forklift guy is our guy.
Correct.
That's Philip Plain.
That is Philip Plain.
Yes.
And Colonel,
Sorry, Ms. Paul, can you just...
Philip Plain or Mr. Nku?
Philip Plain, Mr. Nku, yes. Not so.
Yes.
Is the evidence, and I'm just trying to understand, to be clear, where do we locate this? Are you saying, is the evidence that this communication is about the Boyson's container or has nothing to do with the Boyson's but other containers?
Sorry. This communication relates to the 21 May, not the Boyson's one.
The heading says the screenshots were captured on 21 May 2021. So you're saying it's other containers that they're talking about.
Yes.
Thank you.
And from that message of Philip Plain, you are able to identify that Alpha and Mr. Nku at the port have a guy who works as a forklifter.
That is correct.
And then Mr. Nku responds. Can you go take it from there? Where he says other companies are collecting.
Other companies are collecting. As the stack reduced and boxes moved down, we will get the peaks.
Yes, you can continue.
So, big companies, this one is Alpha.
No.
Sorry.
It's Mr. Nku.
This is
Mr. Nku.
This is confusing you, Colonel.
No, it's just that.
It's still.
No, it's still Mr. Nku.
What he's doing here is to respond to the message by Alpha.
By Alpha.
The message that said, so it is not going to happen today. I say that because you can see right above this response now by Mr. Ngu that he has, what do you call when you just press the message you want to respond to and then it shows
recent.
You, Ms. Poe, Mr. Musigiri, you are younger and more tech savvy, but at least I do follow the conversations. What do you call it when you press a message to which you are responding and then it reflects just above your message?
Yeah,
what's the
like
technical term for that?
It's a quoted text. So the one that you're responding to appears in small and your response then appears bigger below it.
You get my point?
I get it.
Yes.
I'm with you.
So the response now is to, so it is not going to happen today. That's what he's responding to. So please read then, big companies don't.
Big companies don't usually, that is Mr. Ngu. Big companies don't usually want to incur unnecessary costs. It will probably be a bit later. Don't Barlow run 24. Don't Barlow run 24-hour logistics, which means
service desk.
Service desk.
Service desk, yes. They should be able to upload the driver details at any moment.
And in response to that, Alpha also takes back to note that it is important for them to get pictures.
It is very important we get that pics ASAP. Other things are running through the head, they are impacting their heads, but it is their heads. I think your custom guys need to take this serious. Everything is excuse.
And so, from this screenshot, you're able to identify multiple players.
Then we have the custom guys that is now being introduced on this chat, commissioners.
All right. And then, commissioners, there are other screenshots. I'm wary of going through all of the screenshots, but this is really to demonstrate that from the screenshots obtained from Mr. Ngu, you see different role players. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that other operations have been run at the pier by Mr. Ngu and this individual called Alpha.
Correct.
And then just because there's other role players in the third screenshot, can we just go through that quickly?
The third one?
Yes.
Our guys cannot.
That's Alpha writing. Please read them. Am I correct?
Yes, Alpha.
Yes.
Our guys cannot even give us pics of the container and seal. I'm starting not believe anything anymore. There's supposed to be no.
Yes. It's still Alpha.
Yeah, they're supposed to be
the bosses.
They're supposed to be the bosses or the bosses at customs. Yeah, it's still custom. Then
Just sorry, on that, Colonel, does that then suggest that it's not just ordinary custom officials,
The bosses.
it appears to be senior?
Yes.
Okay. And then...
Ms. Boy, it will probably be quicker if you read and you ask the Colonel to confirm. And of course, in respect of each, you indicate who's speaking, who's writing, rather.
All right. And the last screenshot, commissioners, that I'd want us to note is on page 12.
And which one of the three?
The first one. And it starts with Alpha talking. If those containers are gone, me and you are in big bleep. To which Mr. Nku responds and says, those containers are still there, boss. Alpha responds and says, then send the pics with the seal so I can show the people I'm getting heavy threats. Mr. Nku responds and says, give me till 7, boss. I'm pressing all these guys. Alpha responds and says, okay. Mr. Nku says, the guy at Cranes says please be a bit more patient. We'll get pics as they offload. He will move each aside. Colonel, is that then another role player of theirs, the person who works with the Cranes?
That is correct, Commissioner.
And the date is still the same. These are also in respect of 21 May 2021.
Correct, Commissioner.
And another noteworthy thing, Colonel, is that there's always this attempt to get the driver's details in their communications.
Yes.
And what would be the import of that?
Even though I cannot say that much, but the thing is, if we will go further, we will see when the details of the truck and its registration number was also found on the same pics. So I don't know what will they do.
Because that one is quite important. I'm sure you will go through that, Ms. Bowen.
Yes, Colonel, I was just trying to get from you that generally why in these kinds of operations it would be important to get the driver's details, because the screenshots that we started with, you'll see it started with them discussing the difficulties with obtaining the driver's details, and they're talking about an application where those details would emerge. And as they continue, Mr. Nku again on the second screenshot at page 12 says, the second message, boss, the driver details still haven't been uploaded yet. The guys are monitoring the app and the forklift guy is our guy. Can you see that?
Where I'm seated when they were discussing about the driver commissioners, it seems they will want to acquaint themselves with the person that maybe they can easily manipulate along the way, commissioners.
All right, thank you. And then in relation to this incident, the May incident, on page 13 of the presentation, you include there a map. Can you explain the significance of this? The map with Mr. Nku's whereabouts. And remember, Colonel, this is still in May.
On this map, it just to indicate that on that same week, the week of the 21st and the 22nd, when they were communicating about the peak of the seal, the container, and all those things, Nku was in the vicinity of Durban. If you look on that map,
And you are still talking May 2021.
May 2021.
You just mentioned the dates. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He was on that in the vicinity of Durban.
Colonel, just to confirm that even page 14 still deals with Mr. Nku being in the vicinity of the harbor in Durban in May.
That is correct.
Then, Colonel, can we go to paragraph 5 of your statement?
In addition, a screenshot of a computer display was found on the device. The screenshot reflected shipment information indicating that the consignment was scheduled to depart on 2021-05-30 and arrive in Durban Harbour on 2021-06-11.
And for that, can we go to page 16 of the presentation? And there it's another screenshot depicting a conversation between Alpha and Mr. Nku. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in the first picture in that screenshot, because it's not legible, is that what it says there on the far right of the page? It gives the description. It's like a shipping manifest.
Yes, a computer screenshot that indicates the departure time of the vessel from coast West Africa.
And then it indicates where it will arrive and when it will arrive.
It will arrive in Durban Terminal Pier 1.
And so
you've, or rather the essence of what's illegible on the computer screenshot is what's reflected on the far right of page 16. The substance of it, not necessarily everything. Is that it or not?
That is correct. Okay. I can even maybe explain to say, this computer screenshot, commissioners, indicate that comes from the harbor itself. It's a property of Transnet, which means somebody from within Transnet captured this screenshot, forwarded it to this person.
To Alpha.
Yes.
And then in that...
And your investigations, were they not... I'm not going to get into the detail. We are not going to mention names or anything. But were you able to follow up on this? The computer information and so on.
Yes, Commissioner. I went to that.
If it's going to negatively affect your investigations, you don't have to go into that detail.
I will just state, Commissioner, I went to Durban just to know those, because most of the commission talk about Pier 1 and Pier 2. I just wanted to know the significance of those piers. Why are they so important in this? Because the direction is, some of the communication will say they must direct it to Pier 1. And Pier 1, the Boyson's 1 arrived in Pier 1.
If your answer is yes, we have followed up, or yes, we are following up, that's enough for my paper.
Yes, we have followed up.
Okay, thank you.
Colonel, just to clarify, Chair is asking about the...
Sorry, Ms. Bowe.
May well be doing what I want.
Chair is asking about, you know how you just testified that screenshot comes from the harbor, Transnet in particular. Whether you have followed up on who or investigated who all may be involved with that.
I have followed up, commissioners.
And you were able to establish the source?
Yes, I have established that, commissioners.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the two talk about Pier 1 and 2, and in particular, Mr. Nku responds and says, boss, can't they get Pier 2? We are going to have to pull another Mission Impossible. And Alpha responds and says, look here, the vessel is already set. Let's do last one, Pier 1. We do a Mission Impossible. I won't put pressure, at least we know the system. And just for our own knowledge, what is significant about Pier 1 and Pier 2? Is there anything?
If you look at that communication, it seems they were worried about, boss, can they get to Pier 2? We are going to have to pull another Mission Impossible. Which means the request is for it not to go to Pier 2, because...
No, the request is for it to go to Pier 2.
Yes.
It seems Mr. Nku's worried about it going to Pier 1. You see, Mr. Nku says, boss, can't they get Pier 2? We are going to have to pull another Mission Impossible. To which Alpha responds and says, look here, the vessel is already set. Let's do last one, Pier 1.
Okay, yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Can I just check, without you giving detail that concerns your investigations, I just want to understand what this seems to suggest. And please say if I'm correct. It seems to suggest that someone within Transnet makes the decisions about where the ship should go, it's Pier 1 or Pier 2, and so is able to manipulate where it lands in order to facilitate the scheme of accessing the containers. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Transnet people.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I am not sure. Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure what your response to Ms. Bowe's question as to the significance of Pier 1 and Pier 2 is. May I ask this, if you know? It sounds like Mr. Nku is saying it's going to be very difficult for them if the container is or the ship carrying the container offloads at Pier 1. It seems his sense is that it will be much easier if the ship offloads at Pier 2. Do you have any idea as to why that is so?
That is on my own thinking, that maybe when it's a Pier 2, he can easily get whatever you want. Maybe.
So why is that so? That's the essence of my question, I guess.
Because he is creating this doubt to say, going to Pier 1 will be doing Mission Impossible, which means everything is possible if it goes to Pier 2.
You still haven't answered my question. You are restating what he says here and what I said also, or highlighted in my question. Do you know why that is so? If you don't know,
let me not say that.
There's no problem at all if you don't know.
Yes.
You don't know. Don't feel bad about it. I mean, it's not your area of expertise. You are not involved in shipping, harbors, and all those things. Don't feel bad about it. If you don't know, you don't know.
No, I don't know.
All right, thank you.
All right, Colonel. Let's then move to the next paragraph in your statement. It's yes.
Further screenshot dated 2021-0701 were also identified on the device. Based on their content, this screenshot appeared to relate to incident that happened. It should be incident that happened approximately 1 week earlier, which formed part of the Isipingo investigation. The screenshots contained communication and information relating to drug prices.
For this paragraph, Commissioners, if you can go to page 18 of the presentation. Colonel, just to confirm, so these screenshots are related to poisons, the Eritin drugs.
It relates to the Eritin drugs, this one.
And the first screenshot there, again, it's a conversation between Alpha and Mr. Nku. It begins with a message from Alpha, who says, "I only got to know now." Mr. Nku responds and says, "But what is that container carrying?" Alpha responds, "No idea," and says, "Behind door." Mr. Nku responds and says, "Boss, these people are really making our job impossible by the day." And he also responds to the message of Alpha that said "behind the door" and says, "Please ask them, because if they load it on a car or anything that can be mobile from the container, it will be a bust." That's followed by another message from Mr. Nku to Alpha saying, "Boss, please tell the people that avoid any containers with metal or anything automobile. Only load goods or sugar. Anything that goes to Pier 1 or 2 is workable. Remember, there was a bust a week ago. Now we need to go offloading from trucks again." And there's an emoji.
I must just comment that this is really confusing, because all of a sudden now there is no problem with Pier 1.
Yes.
When earlier it was going to be mission impossible to access.
Chair, that was in May. I'm not sure what may have happened between May and July, which now makes 1 and 2 attractive. So in this screenshot, Colonel, can you confirm that they were speaking about the Boyson's shipment?
Correct.
And it appears there that...
Do we say that? What is it in this line, in the sequence of communication, that tells us that they are speaking about the Boyson's shipment?
Commissioners, it's just that these screenshots, as I've indicated, not everything it's in here, because there were a lot of communications that was also, so this was done for the purpose of presentations, but for the investigation, but there were a lot of communications between the 1st of July up until the 8th, when the consignment arrived in Ireton. So, but in this instance that we are with here, that this screenshot does not say anything, I will agree. I cannot definitely, based on this, I cannot definitely say it relates to Boyson's, but based on the investigation that we have done, I know what was communicated in here, Commissioner.
So is that based on texts that either followed or preceded what we see here? Is that what makes you to come up with that connection or to make that connection?
That is correct.
Did you actually see those?
Because I remember there were communications that shows that even on the 4th, because I don't have them here, between the 1st and up until this 8th, there were a lot of, there was something that was happening.
Are you able to explain why those would not have been included? I do hear you that you say that this was a presentation and so on, but I understand it to be a presentation that's capturing everything that was important. So I would imagine to make the connection that this is about Eriton, texts or chats that actually make the connection would have been quite crucial for that purpose. So are you able to tell us why those were not included?
Commissioners, I also tried to get hold of those who are the custodian of this. I was told that certain information cannot be traced back again now.
That's addressing the situation now.
That is a thing.
I'm asking you a question that relates to the compilation of this report. I'm saying, do you know why those chats that make the connection to Eriton were not included in this report as part of this presentation?
No, I don't know.
Thank you.
Colonel, would you be able to get us some of those chats or that information that links these conversations better to Eriton so that we can see those links?
Commissioners, I don't want to commit myself on that because I was trying to say, I tried to make follow-ups. Because after having seen these presentations, I found it necessary that I must also get the full information and in as to what was happening during the time I was investigating, commissioners. So I don't want to commit myself to say.
Can I ask you this question, Colonel? What in these chats, especially the ones on page 18, leads you to believe that they are connected to the drugs that were discovered, I believe it was on the 9th of July 2021 at Ireton? What in these chats leads you to believe that they are connected to that?
Commissioner, in this chart, none. In this chart, I can say no, there's nothing. I don't have anything to back what I was saying.
Is it fair to say the best that you can do is that the suspects that were identified on that day were communicating in chats and they were communicating about drugs and their shipment into the country? And that's as far as you can go. Looking at these chats, there may be other chats somewhere that are not with us now. But looking at this, it's fair to say that Ms. Nku is communicating with somebody in the week leading up to this date, and they are talking about drugs and shipments and piers at the harbor.
That will be fair, Commissioner.
Commissioners, maybe just to say it may get better once we deal with the other pictures that were retrieved around the same time, because if you read those messages with the pictures that were shared from page 20 and 21, it may better link those conversations.
You are still going to take us.
Yes.
You are still going to take us there.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're asking us to be patient and quiet, basically.
Commissioners, I dare not ask anyone to remain quiet. And then, Colonel, what is the significance of then the other picture on page 18, the one that was in blue? Where was it Where did you find that and what's its significance?
This picture was on the screenshot of Mr. Nku.
And was this on the same day as the screenshot of the Trima conversation with Alpha?
This screenshot indicates that it was only taken on the 1st of July. The screenshot, I don't know whether the communication was, but the screenshot was taken on the 1st of July.
And what is the significance?
As I indicated, I don't want the communications, I can't, but the significance of the price list of drugs, the one that is reflected in blue, that is the price list of drugs. And then it also reflects that the price list is in euros, not South African currency.
Pounds, that's pounds.
In pounds, sorry, commissioners. Sorry.
All right. And then let's deal with the other screenshots that were found together or in the days after this, the one on the 1st of July. Can you read paragraph 7 of your statement?
Another computer screenshot was identified depicting yellow jersey truck that was indicated as being designated to collect the container. These screenshots were extracted and preserved as part of the digital evidence obtained during the forensic examination of the device. Commissioners.
And to explain this, can we go to page 20 of the presentation?
Yes.
Colonel, the first picture, what is that?
That is the screenshot of the computer.
And that computer, is it the same one that we saw earlier?
Yes, we can see at the bottom there, it will also indicate Transnet.
At the bottom of the picture. And then in the screenshot itself.
Where about is Transnet? I don't see.
There is something written in red, commissioners.
Can you, there at the bottom. And the detail of what's written in the picture is on the far right of the page. Is that correct?
Yes, the details on the screenshot on the computer is the details of this truck that is found in Ireton, commissioners.
And the picture on the right is what's that picture?
The picture on the right is the truck at Ireton.
And from that you can see that it corresponds with the picture from Mr. Nku's phone.
It corresponds with the picture from Mr. Nku's phone, correct, commissioners.
Sorry, what features of it correspond?
The picture, the screenshot of the computer on the left. It has got the details of this truck.
The registration number?
The registration number.
No, sorry, I'm asking Colonel because this screenshot it's not, I can't quite see the detail of it. So when you say they correspond, I don't know what the reference is to.
Because here is just a photo. What is written on the far right?
On the far right, it's the details.
The details of what is happening on this computer, commission.
I see.
It shows the gate, tracking company, the license.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see that.
This is what is reflected on this, commissioners.
And this picture was retrieved from, well, the metadata of it shows that this picture was taken on the 8th. That would be the day before the Ayrton bust.
That was the date before the Ayrton bust.
And then The next picture is on page 21. Just to confirm, Colonel, what's on the left is what was found on Mr. Nku's phone.
This is what was found on Mr. Nku's phone, Commissioners.
And again, this is a screenshot from Transnet.
That is correct, Commissioners.
And
to the left. On the left.
Yes.
On the left.
And on the right is a picture of the truck that was involved in the Ayrton scene.
Correct, Commissioner.
And
it's already in Ayrton.
Yeah, this was taken when it was in Ayrton.
Is this on the left? Let's just focus on the left. The heading says track and trace. I'm assuming this is how Transnet tracks this truck from Durban to Johannesburg.
That might be correct, Commissioner.
Because it has the details of the registration number, the time in, time out, and then it has details of where it stops and stuff like that.
Even on the top, Commissioner, is the registration number of that one that starts with BEA.
Yes.
Is the registration number of the container.
Of the container itself.
Correct.
And Colonel, do you know when this screenshot was taken? Is it the same day as the one that we just looked at on page 20?
The screenshot were found on Mr. Ngus on the 8th before the bust.
Okay. And then in the presentation, now on page 22, you also did a tracking exercise. Can you explain what we're seeing there?